Welcome, guys, to Mark's Hot Seat. Today, I have an exclusive with Tyler. Tyler is going through some things with his mother. His mother does not approve of his sexuality. And these things have been going on as early as 12 years old. Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I wish I could say the same for you. Um, so, Tyler, your mother does not approve of your sexuality. And you said that this started as early as 12.
Mm.
Um, how did your mom first find out that you were gay?
She found out needing to use my phone one day. I guess she had to make a text message or look up something at some point, and
Mhm.
she had found out that my best friend at the time and I were sending specific type of pictures together, and that we were more than just best friends.
What were some of those pictures like? What did she see?
I mean, she saw me sending back end pictures, you could say, to my friend, and he was showing me like his penis and all that.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
And so what was her reaction? Like what did she say? What did she do? Like what to seeing that her son, her 12-year-old is doing this. Like what was her reaction?
She beat me. She beat me pretty good. She anything that she could see or in my room, she threw it at me. She tried to choke me. She stomped me. She punched me a little bit. She did a lot, and then left a voicemail next day when I went to school.
So that happened that day when she found out.
Hmm.
Um Obviously you guys, I guess, went separate rooms or whatever the case may be. That was it
Hmm.
for that day. You went to school the
Yeah,
next
I went to school the next day.
and you found that she left you a voicemail.
Hmm.
What did that voicemail say?
She said that she was just disappointed in me and that she was disgusted. She was sad at the fact that I was her son and that I could never be her son again in her eyes, and that I pretty much disappointed her.
How did hearing that from your mom, right?
Mhm.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel lesser than life. It made me feel a very a deep disheartenment. It made me feel very low.
Wow. Um, and this is you being 12 and roughly you said around what, sixth grade, right?
Sixth or it had to be seventh grade, actually, now that the math in my head, it had to be 6 or 7.
Sixth or seventh grade.
Mhm.
Okay. And so fast forwarding over the past, well, for the 7 years, let's fast forward a little bit, 7 years. Um, you said that she was ashamed that you were gay. She was
Mhm.
ashamed of you for being gay. Um, and she even called you names. She's just been calling you names over the past 7 years. So you guys live together, obviously, as your mom, you live with her. And you, you're going to be you, right? And living with her was just somewhat of what torture, um, disheartening, disappointment, because you just constantly just kept being reminded that your mom just doesn't love you or doesn't care for you because you're gay.
Mhm.
That she just continuously call you names. Like what are some of those names that she would just call you that you just have to sit there and just take because you are this young? You're not even 18 at this point, and where else you gonna go? Like, what did you have to sit there and endure all those years?
She's called me a lot of things over the years. She's called me a punk, a sissy. She said that, she refers to me as a girl and said that I'm more of a daughter, if anything, than I am a son to her. She'll say that 2 women can't stay in the same household when there's 2 periods. She said that, um she says that she refers me to a lot of things as in like, oh, I do the bending in a relationship, stuff like that, and that I'm just not a man.
Right. Wow. And so at some point you said you went as it got as bad as you doing drugs. You got into some Adderall, you got into shrooms, you got into
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
what, Molly. So it really got to you the way that she was really treating you over these years. It really got to you. So tell everybody, tell people that's watching, like, how did it make you feel for you to have turned to doing these things to get past, to get by?
Honestly, it almost in the moment, it felt like I was just like doing stuff that regular kids were doing. It felt like I was just had like a little I was acting out or like I was just partying or just doing stuff. I didn't really know it at the time, but looking back on it, I was trying to suppress the things that I felt coming back home, the things that I felt dealing with the only person that I've known because she's my only parent. I didn't really know it at the time that I was kind of like trying to hide or fight or like disregard what I was dealing with. But I mean, I was smoking a lot of weed. I was doing shrooms, a lot of pills. I was taking Xanax at a certain point, but it just felt like I was doing stuff that kids my age was doing. The people that I seen at school, they were all doing the same thing, but we all had our own specific set of issues at home that we were dealing with that we were just pretending were fine and that we were just partying, allegedly.
And so this time frame, you were roughly about what, 15 years old when you were doing this.
Yeah, I had just gotten into high school and I started doing that.
Okay. So just now I'm getting into high school. All right. So why do you think why do you think she continued to allow you to live with her, um, but periodically kicks you out and
I
ultimately
feel
gets back in?
I feel like it's because I mean she still has love for me. I don't disregard the fact that she might not, that she does, but I feel like sometimes she just gets overwhelmed and it's a lot for her to see or take in at a certain point in time. And she gets overwhelmed with her specific issues, whatever she has going on with work or her personal life or whatever it might be. So I feel like it kind of mixes all together for her in a specific moment. And when it's too much for her, she just responds in what she knows best, and which is to just push it all away.
What I mean, do you feel that, even at being 15 years old, 15, 16, and just entering into high school,
Mhm.
we all go through things in life, but did you ever think during that time the things that she possibly have been going through work, um, that it was just right for her to treat you that way?
I don't think so, but one thing I can say that she was going through a lot as well during that stage of my life. She had a lot of things in her personal life that she never came to me about that I never even knew up until recently, as in like this year. And she was dealing with that at that age, so it was a lot of deep, dark stuff that she had going on that I had no knowledge of. So I can't take that into account and say that she had a lot going on and she didn't know how else to respond to it.
But granted, yes, she had those things going on, but do you think that it was right for her to take that out on you?
No, I don't think that was right. No.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and at some point, things were good, right? Things
Hmm.
were going good up until your senior year, right? So senior year, you were what, 17? Up to
Yeah, I
about
was
17.
17.
So about 15 when you were acting out doing the drugs. Um, and then after you stopped that, you realized that, the drugs, that route wasn't the best route for you. So you was able to stop, and um, the Xanax, the Adderall, the shrooms, so you stopped that. And a couple of years went by. Uh, Things were good between you and your mom for just a few years. Just for 2 years, it was good up until your senior year. What uh, what happened once you got into senior year? Like, what really happened? You mentioned being kicked out of the church, or being outed. You said being outed, and
Yeah.
so tell me about that. How were you outed in the church?
So I was dating somebody at the time. They went to separate schools. We had like completely separate setup, and apparently, one of the deacon's sons at my church was best friends with this person. And
Uh,
I guess at some point in some time, they either found out or seen us together, or they just found out that we were together and that we knew each other. And I guess he had told his father, and his father came back to the church and told them about what was going on, and then it kinda just spread from there. Like, it just because it was a very small church. It was smaller, and it was a black church, so it kinda news got around fast in that place.
Wow. And and your mom obviously not being okay with your sexuality, a church does not approve of the sexuality. Um, you guys ultimately just stop going to church.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we never went back to church after that.
Yeah. Wow. And you never went back to church. Wow, that's really hard. That's really hard. Have you thought about trying to go back to church?
I've thought about it in between time, but, it's a bit much for me, especially with the fact that I was so involved in the church at the time. Like, I was a youth minister, I was in choir, I was doing different trips with, like, the Bible study team there. I was very active in the church, and it was just a lot for me to just not be a part of that after a certain point because of who I was.
Right. Okay. So, um, so you're working, right? You started working in your senior year.
Mhm,
Um, and at this point, you're growing up, right? You're in your senior year, you start working. Now you start to do your own thing. You're making your
mhm,
money because you mentioned before she was also trying to suppress really who you were uh,
mhm,
growing up. She didn't like your hair. She didn't want you doing certain things to your hair. She didn't want you wearing certain things, right? So now that you're getting a little older, um, start working, making your own money, then you started to try to become who you really wanted to be, uh,
mhm.
and started doing your own hair, doing wearing your hair the way that you wanted to wear, buying the clothes that you've always wanted to wear. What happened at that point? Once those things have started, what happened to your relationship with your mom at that point?
At that point, we started to drift. It kinda signified the separation between us because it was just too much for her to take in. My body started to change, I started to grow out more, my chest got bigger, my hair got longer, she hated it, and I started dating grown men at that time. She hated seeing a lot of the different stuff that I was doing, and she wasn't proud of what I was doing, so we just kinda started living separate lives.
Living separate lives, but also you still living in her house,
Yeah,
under her roof.
pretty
Um,
much.
okay. And again, your relationship just started to just spiral at that point. What were some warning signs? Because she eventually kicked you out of the house at some point. So, like,
Mhm.
were there any warning signs that you were about to get kicked out? And at this point, again, senior in high school, you're 17 years old. Were there any warning signs that you were about to get kicked out of the house?
No, I wouldn't no, it wasn't really many morning signs because we didn't really see much of each other after that point because she started working midday to night shifts. I was working more so in the daytime, close to the evening. We kinda didn't really interact with each other much unless, like, it was, like, maybe 2 or 3 hours out the day we would see each other.
Okay. And so, and this was recently because, again, when you started working at 17, again, you started doing whatever you wanted to do, right? And you're currently 19 years old. Um, you're currently 19, 17 years old, senior, making your own money, changing your life for how you wanted to live it. And then again, fast forwarding from 17 up until now, uh, to 19 years old, being a roommate to your mom, and those warning signs before you got kicked out, you had none. You just ended up getting kicked out of the house. What last week, the 24th. I think that
Mhm.
was what, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Uh, but you had been kicked out prior to last week, Wednesday the 24th. When was the very first time you got kicked out? It was the you said the week prior.
It was the week, yeah, so I had got kicked out, yeah, so I was kicked out for the 24th up until now, and then I was kicked out before that for a week, like, the week before that week. And I mean, I've been kicked out a couple times, honestly. I've been kicked out maybe, like 6 times, I would say 6 or 7.
Okay. So prior to last week on the 24th, you were kicked out for a week. Like,
Mhm.
where did you go? Like, how were you? Where did you sleep? Did you have a place to go? Did you have friends that you could have gone and stayed with? Any kind of relatives? What happened during that week when you were kicked out of your mom's house?
So for that week, I stayed in my car for the first day, and then the next day, a guy that I was dealing with, a guy I used to deal with, I should say, he responded and he came and got me pretty much. And he was helping me get a room to stay at like during the times that I was gone. So pretty much I was staying with him, but I was also doing stuff that was not necessarily good to make sure that I was able to stay in that room pretty much. So I mean, yeah,
So,
I was making it work.
so when you say you were doing things that weren't that good or weren't good at all to be able to stay in this room. Are we talking about having to do drugs? Are we talking about, doing something like favors for this individual? Like what are things that you wasn't proud of having to do to be able to not have to sleep in a car?
Well, I mean, I was selling for sure. I was selling things that I didn't want to sell. And I was also selling myself. After a while I started doing private dances for people to make a little bit of money, to get gas, to make sure I could take care of myself, to eat and all that. So
And,
yeah, I would
and
say those 2.
and having to start doing that again, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel just it made me feel pretty weak. It made me feel kinda it just made me feel pretty disappointed in myself and just disappointed in the situation and just the fact that, I mean, it was unfortunate and I had to do what I had to do to make sure that I was okay and to make sure that I was at least somewhat taken care of as much as could be.
Right. So that was the prior week. You just got kicked out again, like I said, on the 24th last week, Wednesday.
Mm.
And so last week, Wednesday, and today you are back home.
Mhm.
So being back home, how did you get back home?
My mother came and got me pretty much. She had found where I was at the time. I was at a community center, just pretty much trying to like research and look for different jobs. And she had came and said, I need to come back home.
So when you saw her and she came to get you, what what were your thoughts when you saw her approaching you? Did you know that she was about to say, come on home?
Honestly, I didn't even know that was her. I thought it was somebody else at the time because some people in the community center, they'll like come like back and forth to see if somebody's in the room that I was in to use it or not. And when I really got a good look at her, like when I see her close up at the door and
Uh,
she had opened it and she said what she said, I was kind of in shock. And then I had realized she was pretty much just doing it because I was in contact with my grandmother for most of the time that I was gone. And she was saying that she was doing it for her sake because she was just stressed out trying to figure out what was going to happen.
Catch you. Um, and so And on the 22nd, so just going back just a couple of days before the 24th, on the 22nd, you said that she had mentioned to you that no matter what, you are always going to be her son and that she loved you. Um, no matter what you guys went through, that you were her
Mhm.
son and she would always love you. But then you get kicked out of her house. Well, when she
Mhm.
say things like that to you, how do you feel? When she tells you, when she comes to you after treating you badly,
Mhm.
right? And she comes to you and she say things like that about how no matter what you guys go through, she loves you, you're her son, but then she can then turn around moments later or days later and just kick you out. Like tell me about that time. Tell me about when she said that to you.
It was a pretty it makes you feel kinda confused because it's like, I mean, deep down inside, I feel like there's a piece of her that does mean that, but it's also like It's just a back and forth thing because she'll say, "Oh, like, I care for you and that no matter what happens, that you're still my son, I still love you." But then we also in the same conversation, we had also brought up the fact I was like, "What happens if I get married at some point? Would you even be there for me?" Because she just can't see me being with another man in life. And she said that she couldn't do it. She couldn't stomach the fact of seeing me try to get married and kiss a man in front of her and do the whole ceremony. She couldn't even do that. And that she just couldn't be there for me in those in certain parts of my life when it mattered. And it kind of just broke my heart because I mean, I asked her, "Well, you said that you would always be there for me and that you love me." And then in her response, she said that, "Well, maybe I lied to you to make you feel better." And I didn't really know how to take that. So I mean, this is certain stuff you gotta try to make peace with.
And when you heard her say that she only said it just to make you feel better, like, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel crazy. I'm not gonna hold you.
It seemed like you have been through a lot. And she's your only parent, right? Your father is not in the picture at all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you don't have any family member that's near that's willing to help you out, whether if it's to, kind of stay with them for a little bit, like nothing.
We're the only ones here where we are. She uprooted us when I was a little bit younger. So
Uh-huh.
we stay in Texas by ourselves and the rest of my family is back in Michigan.
Okay. So, I have to ask, being kicked out of the house several times, right? Um, and the latest has been the 22nd, uh, being gone, I guess, prior to that, a week. So a week being kicked out of the house. And then again, last week, the 24th, being able to return back home today, uh, having to live out of the house, into the car, in your car, doing things that I don't think many people don't want to have to do to be able to survive, be able to eat, be able to uh, have a roof over your head. So you don't have to sit in the car, um, especially now it's hot, So being able to having to sit in the car or sleep in the car, um, and it's just not even safe, right? I mean, you sleeping in the car, somebody walk by, it's too many crazy things that's going on.
Mhm.
For you to constantly be kicked out of the house and then she comes back as early as today and tell you to come back. Have you ever thought like when is enough, right? Um,
Mhm.
you never thought that when she came back to you today or the next time she would have came and approached you and say, Ty, come back home. It's never came to your mind to say, Mom, I'm good. You have kicked me out of the house for the last time. I am going to now stand on my own 2 feet and make it work. You kicked me out for the last time, and I'm going to make it work. Um, get however many jobs you need to get, save up enough money, and officially like just stay out. Have you ever thought about that?
I definitely have. Absolutely. I just feel like at the points of time whenever she has taken me out, I was kind of like down on my luck pretty much. I didn't have much of a basis to even try to catapult that to where I could say, okay, I can at least try to just work these jobs and save up this money to do what I need to do. I didn't even have enough to try to start that on my own pretty much. So I feel like whenever I can get my bases covered, then I could actually start to initiate that type of plan.
Okay. Do you wonder now that you're back in the house today? Today marks day one of being back in the house. Do you think when is the next time you about to get kicked out? Have you started the countdown to when your next day going to be back in your car? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I have. I definitely have. Um, I mean, it could happen at any point in time, honestly. I mean, it's happened a couple different times before. So I feel like I've just been since I mean, even before the last time on the 24th when I was first kicked out, I've been applying to new places so I could actually at least have a little bit of money to try to get an extended stay or like a room somewhere to start saving to get a real place.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any and are there not any type of housing thing that you can apply for? they help people with, lower income, something that you can probably afford your own. Is there anything like that out there in Texas?
I'm sure there is, but in the city I stay in, I'm not too sure. It's a very small country town, so I'm not really too sure about that, and it takes a while to get back to the city, and we don't even have enough gas or, like, your oil isn't changed yet. Your car's gonna run out at a certain point, so you can't really even leave the city you're in to get to another one to try to get to that.
Right. Okay. Wow. Ty, again, I am sorry that you are going through this with your mom, and again, with it being your only parent, the only support system. You actually don't have any support system. Um, you don't have any family there that you can go to. You don't have friends that you can count on to help you out. And granted, I mean, who wants to be asking people for help, right?
Mhm.
Especially during that time. For one, it's embarrassing um, to asking for handouts or asking for someone's help. It's not even necessarily a handout, right? It's just really asking for help. Some of us don't even know how to ask for help,
Right,
and
right.
so for that, I do apologize for you having to go through that um, at the hands of your mom. So uh,
I appreciate it.
yeah, um, I would definitely like to hear back from you, on your progress. See how things are working out with you and your mom. Now that you're back in the house, you're not on the streets. You're back in the house.
Right.
I don't know if those numbers are days are being counted down to your next day to get kicked out, but I would definitely like to um, keep in touch and get an update on how your relationship is going with your mom. So I appreciate you for doing this interview, telling your story, telling everybody your story, right? And for someone like you that's 19 years old, who is a gay male living in Texas, and to anyone that's watching, what would you what would you tell someone that's going through this same situation, the same thing that you're going through? What is your advice to them?
I would say just try to smile through all of it because, I mean, it's not much you can do but make the best out of your situation. Because sometimes when you're by yourself in that car, in that room, or in that dark spot where you have to sell or do something that you don't wanna do, it could be very terrifying. It could be very lonely. It could be very isolating, and the most you could do, I mean, it makes it easy for me when I laugh at a lot of things. I make light of out of a lot of situations because it makes it easier for me to live through it, and it makes it easier for me to deal with it. So I feel like you could try to smile and laugh as best as you can and not look like what you're going through, because when you look like that and you present yourself as either homeless or as either whatever you're dealing with, you're gonna get treated as such. So I feel like you should just try your best. Life is life, and things is meant to be. Things happen for a reason.
Guys, this has been an exclusive interview with Ty. Thank you guys for watching Mark's Hot Seat.